Okay, these two little guys are Browning Trombones, 22 long rifles. This one was my Uncle Earl's. He got when he was 13 from my grandparents. Back in the old days in Saskatchewan, you got one good present when you're 13. And this was what my uncle got. It's also what my father got. So my sister has my father's, but she's going to give it to my son. So we're going to have 3 of these. And this was the one that my father gave to me when I was 13. So this was my first rifle. So this one I just got from my aunt. My aunt decided to gift it to me. I really appreciate it. I had to fix up this was all broken. I fixed that up with Gorilla waterproof glue because it's thin and it went right into these joints, and fixed it up good as new. So we're going to see how they shoot today. So typical groups, 25 yards, 50 yards. It keeps good averages as well. Switch to a Burris scope. The Tasco couldn't be adjusted. My dad came from a family of 7 brothers and 3 sisters. And they grew up in Saskatchewan. There wasn't a lot of money in those families in those days. My dad was born in 1913. And there was a family tradition that when the boys were 13 years old, they got a gift at Christmas time that was actually something special. And usually they didn't get much of anything. But when they were 13, they received, my dad and one of his brothers received a Browning Trombone. And my sister has my dad's, although she's going to give it to my son, so we'll soon have that one. And my aunt gave me this little guy right here. So my uncle Jock was born in 1919, so we'd have got this in about 1932. In the Depression, this would have been quite the thing to have. So this is a Browning trombone. I've, at some point in its history, they added this little scope rail and put on this Tasco. And this Tasco was made in the 70s. It's no longer adjustable. For some reason it's frozen. So I put in this little 4-power mini Burris. And this gun shoots really well, functions perfectly. It actually feeds better, all different types of ammunition better than the new one, which I have. And my father kept that tradition up. When I was 13 in 1973, I got this. The Browning Trombone was designed by John M. Browning. It was designed in 1919 and patented in 1922. It was made in Belgium by Fabrique Nationale from 1922 to 1974. So this will be one of the last ones. It's got 142,000. Although you never know how long it stayed in a department store in Saskatoon in those days. But it has 142,000 serial number, where this one, back from the 30s, has a 20,000. And my father's must be even younger than that, because my father was born in 1913. So that would have been a gun given to him in 1926. So there's a fair bit of history to these. And what really pleases me about this old one that has a lot of patina, it had a broken stock, which I fixed with some waterproof Gorilla Glue. Fixed up very easily. And it shoots slightly better than the new one. About just over 1 inch groups at 50 yards with the right kind of ammunition, where this one is more like 1 inch and 1.25 inches to 2 inches, depending on the ammunition. This will get down to a real inch at 50 yards. 11 round little magazine. This old timer has probably taken a lot of jackrabbits in his day. Probably a lot of, they called them chickens. In the day when they would go hunting, they were kind of grouse. And my son and I will take these guys spruce grouse hunting. And a lot of tradition here. But it's a lovely little piece of machinery. Both of them now have the matching burruses. And my father's will make quite an incredible 3 rounds. And this is a picture of my dad and 5 of his brothers. That's my father there, Frank, born in 1913, and that's Earl, whose firearm this was. And he was born in 1919. And they were back to the Landers before that was fashionable in good old Saskatchewan. So, thank you.